So I recently referenced the film Shanghai Nights in conversation with a friend. If you've ever watched the film, you know that the beginning of the movie opens with boxers attacking the Forbidden City. The historical context for the film is complete nonsense, of course, but it's always fun to watch Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson on screen together. Outside of the movie, there actually was a boxer rebellion in China. The history of China is vast and complex, and I can't go into the entire thing. But what we need to know right now is that the boxers besieged the city of Beijing, and in the city of Beijing were legations from foreign countries who were holed up there as well. So naturally, of course, European powers and Japan could not sit back while their people were being attacked. So they formed a coalition to fight the boxers. Amongst the coalition were troops from the army in India. This makes sense logistically because China and India are like right next to each other. But beyond that, using Indian soldiers in wars abroad was a common British colonial tactic. The British often used to ship and move Indian troops to maintain their colonial possessions, as in the case of Ashanti, Makran Coast, Terah, and also in China during the Opium Wars. Back to Beijing in August 1900 during the Boxer Rebellion, the siege of the legations was finally lifted when the 7th Rajputs broke the siege and entered the city. This particular deployment of troops from India is interesting because we have the perspective of Thakur Gadhadhar Singh of the 7th Rajputs. He wrote an account of it called 13 Months in China, which was originally published in Hindi, of course. In it, we see a sepoy's thoughts on the world, imperialism, war, and the British. Singh's account goes through several thoughts, including comparisons between India and China, his fellow countrymen, and a lot about Japan specifically. This kind of makes me wonder whether he was the first ever weeaboo in India. Singh's account at the start itself talks about Japan's isolation being broken by the Americans. So we know that he knows about the Meiji Restoration. In Singh's eyes, Japan had developed so rapidly in the recent past because they were open to new ideas, something he felt his fellow countrymen were not particularly receptive to. He talks about how there is a veil cloaking the minds of Indians, and he uses examples of how different communities were looked down upon because of their dietary preferences. I'm happy to say that this does not happen nowadays in India. This is probably one of the few first-hand accounts of Indian soldiers. It's interesting to see how he balances critiques of the British while also reaffirming himself as a loyal British subject. This kind of balancing act would have been common amongst a lot of soldiers who fought in the British Indian Army, who were weapons in the colonizer's army abroad and also unequal subjects while they were back home.